Straight back into this one, guys. One apiece in this best of three. One team's going to go to the grand finals. One is going to drop to the bottom finals and will be competing up against Darksider to decide the final spot for this one-day competition leading up to Season 4 starting on August 9th. Vandy, how good are these games being so far? What a great way to show what's to come.
Yeah, couldn't have said it any better myself, Skimmy. Seemingly out of nowhere, we've got two explosive teams on our hand now. On the side of NMD and the newly formed Crimson Esports. I mean, NMD, they were looking a little bit rocky last season, but I'm going to stop saying any of that. They are a totally new team. They've been explosive, but Crimson Esports, not down and out, taking a very nice victory. It was such a back and forth, but walking away, bringing this game now to the third game of this best of three.
Yeah, as you said it yourself, a bit of a sticky situation there with the Stitches. He got the hook, what looked like a game-winning play, gets the Gulch, denies the Malfurion route, and as a result buys enough time for the rest of Crimson Sports to react, to respond, to save Ultivian as well. The Twilight Dream was good, but the Divine Shield was even better, and that alone was the play to swing the fight in their favor. Such a close game, but now it comes down to the ANZ Classic. Infernal Shrines, selected by Crimson Esports, first pick in favor of NMD.
Let's see what NMD choose to take with their first pick. So important. Bans now going out on Genji. I think Genji was a lot of the enabler on both maps. So this time, neither team will get to have him.
Yeah, no love lost for Genji. Such a frustrating hero, arguably giving the winning edge to both teams when displayed in this series. But really, what I'm more curious about is this second ban. Where do the teams decide to put their attention into it? Illidan is the choice. We've already seen Metamorphosis be displayed today. And straight away they say, if Illidan's gone, Malfiel is a first pick priority.
We're more than happy to take him, and he can work quite nicely on Infernal Shrines. Or the little dudes, as we've affectionately named them. He can get a lot of health back off them as well if he goes Tormented Soul. So fighting around the objective, very advantageous for Malfiel.
And just like that, they say, well, if you're going to go that kind of course of action, we're going to go straight on in with the Oriole Valor. Such a ridiculously strong setup, combined with any second support to empower it. And they had to sort of, I suppose, put your attention, if you're NMD, into the other lanes. How can you minimize the amount of pressure you take in this bottom lane? Mm-hmm. But how can you actually win in the other lanes to find that advantage?
You're exactly right. You need an answer to that Valor, to that Oriole. You need to be able to take either Valor or Oriole out of the equation. And that will be kind of the key to winning that team fight, especially when it comes to the Shrines. However, winning that lane, as you said, you need something that can wave clear quite effectively. So things like Kelthar, someone who can wave clear safely. Zul might not be actually optimal in this case because he actually has to get into the minion wave to use Curse Strikes.
Yeah, I suppose Zul on Tales of Doom, a bit of an interesting pick. Far better suited to this map in particular, but hold the phone. Arthas is locked in to dissuade the sort of all-in comp on Valor, and Chromie as well saying, well, Chromie is our pocket pick, everybody's favourite little gnome.
I wouldn't say everyone. Definitely not mine. So throwing a bit of shade Chromie's way, but definitely respect what she has to bring, and that is the perfect solution to that Valor and Oriole. I mean, we say that Oriole is her own battery at times, or she can really supplement a lot of what her battery is doing, so Valor. But if they're so low, if Valor can't even go in, if Oriole can't even go in to get that all-important hope, they're almost dead picks, and that's what Chromie can really enable them to do.
So yeah, Chromie definitely that direct counter, as you already touched upon. But I say, in terms of ways to deal with the Oriole Valor, once upon a time we saw, I believe it was NMD up against Trump Sports with, I believe, yeah, it was Trump Sports actually running the Valor Oriole. And the response of NMD was, we run a super aggressive composition with a lot of CC, follow up to the initial engage from Arthas, and they just collapse upon any hero in particular, because Malfurion has been taken off the board. You'd imagine now a Tassadar or even the Zarya ban, and prevent that Valor really getting as much value as you'd like.
That's it, and also keeping that Valor safe from Chromie's artillery. So Tassadar taken off the board. Zarya is still available, though, on the side of Crimson. Do you think they'll want to take? I'd say it would be a very smart choice, and I think it would fit really nicely into their composition. They need someone who can collapse. You need to put pressure on that Chromie. She cannot be left unchecked.
Well, the one reason I mention it is that it's actually really good against the Malfiel. You can pop that shield, get some reliable shielding energy. Mm-hmm. You can kind of sustain yourself against what is otherwise a very hard hero to deal with in lane, because Sonya doesn't really have the best time up against that matchup. Does fall quite far behind. And yeah, the gravity lapse. Sorry, not the gravity lapse. The gravity bomb.
Expulsion zone, the other one.
Well, I say even both. I say they both have value. Expulsion zone to prevent the all-in engage, or even just the one-shot potential. Overlap it, pretend we're playing Overwatch, and just get conflicted on what game you're playing.
Am I gravity lapsing? Am I gravity bombing? I don't even know what hero I'm playing. It's Kael'thas? Is it Daria? Loving it. But gets the job done, and that's the important thing. But very, very strong here. Double support now being taken up. So all their eggs now into these 2 hyper carries. Valor, Greymane, last pick surely needs to be a nice beefy tank on the side of Crimson. How now do NMD want to respond?
Well, this is really Crimson Esports to a T. This is what we've seen when Altivian and Like have been on rosters with other players. This is their go-to composition, their most comfortable composition. And this is something that, quite hard to deal with. You've got to look to try and blow that person up. You've got to look to try and establish some follow-up to this Arthas engage, because right now it's quite predictable how you're going to be fighting in. The Howling Blast goes across, Malfield jumps in. You've got the Stukov to provide yourself with that beautiful sustain, which quite rightfully so will do wonders against the poke from the cocktail and the multi-shot from Valor.
Yeah, that's exactly what they need. They need to be kept nice and healthy from that constant barrage coming out of Valor Greymane and the constant poke if Valor also opts in for the multi-shot build. That is the go-to build for various reasons, also quite safe. What tank does Crimson want to fill out their roster? Like a big fan of Muradin, big fan of Diablo, also not afraid to play Arthas. Arthas taken out of the equation though. So what are your bets on? Are we going to see a Muradin, Diablo, or neither?
I think they need some dive. They need some dive to get onto the Chromie as well as the Stukov. Otherwise, there's far too much control. We talked about it earlier in the day. The slowing stands combined with the lurking arm, a lot of zoning control, especially around the shrines as well. Couple that with the Arthas, just set you up so nicely in your own little island. And say they need to get the job done and get the job done quickly if you're on the side of Crimson Esports. And I'm thinking the most reliable answer to that would be Diablo with the 8-box setup.
I'm also thinking Diablo would be my go-to of choice. But Leica showing that he really does prefer that Muradin, and happy to play his comfort pick this time. I still will end in, I guess, a similar situation, except Muradin's more one-on-one, whereas Diablo, he can use Apocalypse to hit multiple targets. I'm also liking, we didn't really touch on more about the Uther, but Uther would have been really nicely paired with Malthael. Tormented Souls and Divine Shield, that can dish out so much damage, especially when you cannot CC that Malthael or just get away from him, essentially. So a good denial pick there as well as supplementing their roster. Clever.
Absolutely. It's going to be a case of who has the better... if we compare them once again, it looks to me as if NMD have gone the direction of, we want objective control, we can sit around in the bay, we can zone you out because we've got all these controlling tools. But then the side of Crimson Esports is like, we want to win team fights. We've got double supports, double carries, we're looking to get into your backline, we're looking to establish kills. And this is what Leica did game number 1 against Milkshake, against a very similar sort of setup with the Chromie. He just dived on in, he had somebody to follow him up, they got the kills and they got out.
So he's already got the results under his belt, so not afraid to do it again. And let's see if it'll be successful, because this game is going to decide who progresses on in the upper bracket.
Absolutely. Pressure is on the line here for Pride, more than anything, really, to see what needs to be worked upon, what you need to study on up with that 2-week gap leading into season number 4 with the LAN finals when ANZ really starts to pop on off. But let's talk about both these teams. All stakes on the line. Team on the right-hand side on your screen right now. This is Team Crimson Esports. It's led by Altivian on Uther, Azure on Valor, Leica on Muradin, Moondred on Oriel, and Jesmez on Greymane.
And blue team is Team NMD with Lahal playing Stukov, Ninja on Chromie, Hika on Cassia, Physics playing Malthael, and Penta on Arthas.
Really liking the Cassie here. Going to do a lot of work dealing with both Greymane and the Valor as well. But I suppose it's really down to how to control this combination between both Chromie and Stukov to not only dictate the dive, but also to control these zones. So when the likes of Greymane try and get aggressive, they have no option of getting themselves out.
Just looking at the talents, Stukov has opted for that growing infestation, already indicating to me that Lahal is looking to pair up nicely with the slowing sands. That Ninja potentially will be picking. I don't think we'll see a temporal loop. No. Not against an Oriel, unless you can land, it's just, no. It'd be silly if we saw that. Not a chance.
Think we will. I think the utility from slowing sands with what you have is just far too predictable. I'd be very surprised if we saw otherwise, but in terms of laning pressure, really should be in favour of the boys from Crimson Esports with this double sort of front-loaded damage in the early game, but they are going to do a different setup. They're going to have one carry and support in the top lane, one carry and support in the bot lane, and they're going to keep both lanes distracted.
Yep, get the push happening in both lanes, and instead we are seeing NMD rotating more as that 4-man. Need to be careful, though, on the side of... Ooh, Chromie getting very aggressive already. Doesn't land with anything but practice shots. But yeah, just need to be worried that they do not fall to a bit of a rotation gank.
So, I mean, in terms of laning pressure, as long as Crimson Esports can play it safe, they will win when it comes to this matchup. If they can get dived upon like that, then they really are going to start meeting some problems. And I say Penta really is going to be the focal point of this one. How can he find the angles? How can he find the pressure? How can he get the engages? Because if he can't, then they start passively losing this early game.
That's it as well. And also, all eyes on Lahal. He needs to be able to keep his team nice and healthy. There's a lot of poke. Answering poke, I guess, on the side of Crimson Esports that they can bring. Physics very low in that top lane with that pairing between Jesmez and Altivian. It's every, I guess, assassin's dream when you've got your support in lane with you in both lanes.
I just love these lane setups, to be quite honest, with how they've decided to try and deal with Physics on Malfield. I mean, yeah, he's had all these changes, but he's still just such an annoyance to deal with in lane that so many solo laners just cannot deal with the pressure.
No, it's a sustain.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a sustain. I mean, high health pool or not, if he's going to land his Reaper's Mark on you and then strike you, he's just got so much sustain, and yet you're just trading and just not getting anything out of it.
First shrine has spawned with 10 apiece, as both teams look to try and keep up the XP soak. Looking for that engage. And once the Frozen Temper starts to get rolling, that's when the problems start to come across. Lurking Arm in the backline, looking to try and keep those members stuck in place. Collapsed upon, and that is Physics gone out of the map. Maybe overestimating how tanky and how much healing he has when those Reaper marks are stacked upon people, but nonetheless, it's a 4v5 now. Still quite close in terms of this shrine.
Look at that Lurking Arm now going out from Lahal. He's looking to get that silence out whenever he can and disable a lot of what Crimson can do, especially if they're trying to collapse. But the first Punisher does go very convincingly over on the side of Crimson Esports, and this is what you were talking about, Skimmy. The way they drafted is also definitely with the Punisher, with that objective in mind.
100%. They got so much early game pressure, so much potential to find those kills and be able to make aggressive plays and have the support to back it up. So I'm loving what they're doing. We are going to keep up this 3-man soak, and rightfully so. Leica jumps in very aggressively, looking for Physics. Is the sun going to come across? It's not going to come across. Physics lives to see another story as Hiccup comes across as well, trying to divert some of that attention, keep the pressure up, and keep their dreams alive.
Thank goodness for Physics. If he had died, there would have been another story. Just more experience added on to this ever-growing little lead that Crimson Esports are starting to establish for themselves. And with these Merc camps as well, both teams are looking to utilize them. Neither team just prioritizing them. It's more when that Punisher is up, when that Shrine is spawning, that's the optimal time to take them.
Ooh, Physics. One more would do it. The claw was not there, but the cocktail tried to predict Physics' movement pattern. He does get the juke. He is forced to back away. One thing I want to talk about, Vanny, during this downtime is the level 4 talent for Stukov. One good spread. This is quickly becoming my favorite level 4 talent because it gives you just so much sustain to deal with the likes of the Vala, constantly bouncing around, reducing the cooldown, and refunding the mana cost.
It's a really nice go-to talent, especially when the prioritization is of keeping your team nicely topped up. And really what it needs is just for your team to be close. And that's what's going to happen in a lot of these fights. So Lahal's already anticipating it with that in mind. And his 7 talent that he's taken is within my reach, which means that Lurking Arm now, he'll have more reach and he'll make sure that he's not in harm's way. So he can actually effectively use it around the fog in the shrines.
Yeah, this is what I expected to see when we saw Chromie and Stukov paired earlier in the day. Now allows both of them to sit quite hand in hand with one another, combine both of those skills, and really start to establish some ridiculous control. So had to wait and see how that one develops as level 10 approaches, but all eyes still on Crimson Esports, a 4-level lead, the lane matchups and the composition working in their favour, and as a result of that, they've also got bottom lane too, because Azure's jumping straight in towards Ninja, and the little gnome gets squashed.
Easy pickup right there. I mean, Ninja was face-checking that one, and Moondrove said, all right, see ya, Detainment Strike, let's go. Popped, Skimmy. That's all she wrote. Shrine's activating in top as well. Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, okay, so Chromie will have the ultimate now. They can actually try and establish it, and this is probably the best bet for them to use it, right? In this top lane where the options and the choke points are very limited, to be curious to see how they try and establish the control over this one. With Jesmis picking up the Shaman camp, they want full control on this lane. They might even hit level 10 as well.
That's optimal time to pick up that Shaman camp. So Jesmis definitely, once again, they're playing the map to a T. They know what needs to be done and they're doing it. And they're putting a lot of pressure, more importantly, onto Physics. As you said, a 1v1, very undesired on Malthael. But look at this. A kill now on Oriel. I missed it. Skibby, can you fill us in?
Yeah, it was great positioning there by the rest of NMD to collapse onto that one. You can see that, you know, Crimson Esports were pushing bot lane, trying to get the collapse on, trying to get the XP, but they get a little bit overextended. And as a result, I mean, they actually trade things out in the top lane as well. Malthael also sort of reaping the benefits of a successful gank attempt, and now what looks so good for NMD suddenly evened out.
It's like a great trade-off, and the fact that Crimson Esports has reached 10 now, it's going to stall out, I guess, NMD's chance to really contest this shrine. Instead, they opt for that Shaman camp, so smart. They're just waiting to get that level 10. I mean, the early game punishes, they don't do too much unless you've got something like a Sylvanas. You can just really then enable it out, or if you start getting those kills in the lane, otherwise you can successfully bait it, kite it. It's all right to lose our first fort. It's not going to be the be-all, end-all. But look, they want to contest.
This is going to be interesting positioning, because if they fight around here, they're going to get jumped upon. The combo is there, but it does not matter. The ults are just so strong, and Malthael punched on back to the 15th century with the cursed bullet. Wow, so much damage.
So that's where Malthael's from, the 15th century. Who would have known? But I don't understand. There was no need to contest. You could have just fought around here if you wanted to have a fight. So now they're giving up the fort, and this really now, okay, this allows the Punisher to actually gain some real value once it starts taking out this front wall of the keep.
What is usually such a strong hero on this map in particular is being told otherwise. I mean, right now there's not really been a successful team fight, or even a 5v5 for the NMD guys to actually evaluate how this game's going in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, Crimson Esports is something else now. They are really feeling it. They're playing so well this time around. They know exactly what they need to do. Shut down that Malthael. Make sure that we're constantly putting pressure on Ninja with that Chromie. Don't let him take free shots on us. And even Penta to getting destroyed. Curse Bullet to open up.
Wow. Penta runs on in, looking for the Howling Blast collapse, but the shove is good! It moves away like it. Is this enough? No, it's not. Alphys is the first one to fall on down. Physics tries to join that backline and get rowdy with them, but it's just proving to be too much damage for him to sustain through it all. Curse Bullet just doing so much to start things off with, Vandy. And I mean, like you say, this is the map pick that Crimson wanted. They had the draft, they had the strategy, and that's all about execution now.
Yep, they're ready to really just run it on in and bring this one home so that they can progress in the upper bracket. So if you're on the side of NMD now, I'd be a little bit worried. That talent number 13, talent 13 is coming up. That's a disadvantage on you. And look at this. Nah. Leica, that's the pressure that we need to happen on a Chromie. If you can shut her down, she's just dead weight.
It's almost as if Leica is a bandit. He's seen the poster, he's got the wanted poster in his hand, he wants the money, and he goes, kill Chromie. I hate him. I've read that Hacky guide and it says kill him.
Oh my goodness, I mean, that's borderline toxic, but it's hilarious at the same time because, I mean, everyone's felt like that against Chromie at one point or another, surely. You just hate it when she's in the back taking those free shots. So to be able to dish out some vengeance, I guess Leica's just almost a little knight in shiny armor for all us that have been put down by Chromie.
He's doing God's work for us all. He's doing all what we want to think and say, but we're all too polite and reasonable in the ANZ region to say because, you know, it's all about the love. And talking of love, Lahal has lost a lot of love with his internet connection. It is the classic 3-2-3. This is ANZ at its finest. Looks like they're ready to rock and roll again as we continue to siege in the mid lane.
Yep, it just allowed me to take stock of, I guess, who was close to finishing off their quest. So Altivian really about to finish up Wave of Light, and that's going to really help Devotion, if he is taken out in a fight. Just really empower that passive ability. Physics now opening up with that Tormented Souls, but he cannot go too deep.
He was trying to. He used the Rave Strike to jump onto Azure and try and keep as many members collapsed upon with that Reaper's Mark. But I say, the Lurking Arm, they did actually a really good job of keeping both Arthas and the rest of the members alive as they tried to jump upon, they tried to collapse. But with that silence, prevents those skills, and those all-important skills are what does the damage. And that is diamond level analysis right there.
I mean, Moon Druid here, if he went out any further, there could have been a free kill for them, but he sensed something was up. His spider senses were tingling. Instead, he just waits for his beloved battery. And he, I guess, cheats death.
Yeah, he wants his battery. He wants his rechargeable battery pack at that as well. They're looking to collapse upon this Kazra, clear it out, keep this level lead. Still a fair while to go until 13 is picked up by NMD. They might try and turtle this one. They might even just try and go for the fight even instead. They're going to look to go for Altivian, who is getting a lot of damage put upon him, and that is the combo we're talking about between both Slowing Sands and the Lurking Arm. But it buys them enough time. They're not 13 still, but they get the lead when it comes to these skeletal defenders.
I mean, Uther, you think he's caught, but just he shows how tanky he is by managing to run away. He was silenced and also just completely, I guess, taking shots here and there, but walks away to tell the tale. NMD, though, they are in front in terms of getting the little dudes to activate the Punisher. So that's looking good for them. As long as they can continue to poke these off and no one gets picked off, it's looking quite good for them.
Right now, NMD are trying to attack from the left, but the Slowing Sands on the bottom side. I'd love to see them attack from a different angle. They are going to collapse upon. Right now, Crimson is completely split. Tormented Souls comes across. Red Vengeance finds Valley on 3 crucial targets. So much damage front-loaded at the start of that team fight, and Cassie is the first with the full physics. Living, surviving, doing what he can. He gets out. He gets Valo within his grasp as well. But 3 members come across, and Altivian snipes him with the Holy Radiance, doing heals, doing damage, putting in an honest man's day of work.
A 2-for-1 exchange going out there. Ooh, massive shove. Just saying, get out, Stukov. But, I mean, alright. So you've taken out the Vala, but they don't have anything else to follow up with yet. This is a rough spot.
This is rough, Andy.
Yeah, this is a really rough spot. So really what happened was the fight was so split. Penta was actually just getting soloed by Jesmez, and that's, I guess, the power of Cursed Bullet. Greymane just being able to shred Penta's health. So while Penta was around on the right side, it then left the rest of Crimson to then collapse upon Ninja and Lahal, and even Physics in that back lane. So with the tank so far out, like, they were just being pulled a couple of different directions.
Yeah, NMD still searching for their first Punisher of this game, forced on the back for every single time, just collapsing the overlapping of stuns and just the damage that is coming from this lineup of Crimson Esports just is so fierce that, you know, Penta's looking for that engage, he's looking for Physics to jump in, and by the time that he does, Penta's already gone.
And Penta's like, see ya, I'm out, I'm done and dusted on the ground, waiting to respawn, because that's just the story that's being happening. He's just getting blown up. Anytime, actually anyone that's getting close to the back line of Crimson is getting destroyed, and that's just how much damage, how much survivability they have.
Starting to see some of the weaknesses of this lineup from NMD come across, but they aren't going to be deterred. They're looking for that window of opportunity, as small as it may be. 16 is literally millimeters away from being picked up. There goes the stun, cleanses beautiful, gets himself out of harm's way. He's running, he's doing what he can. Arthas is in the back line, he is gone once again. Physics jumps in, he's looking for it. The dots are ticking, the kills are waiting, and the headshots can't be picked up. Look at that, Lycra and Jesmez is so low, and they just need that extra damage. They need those 3 levels. The percentiles is hurting him so much.
It really was. I mean, we saw the perfect Slowing Sands and within my reach. Sorry, what is it? Lurking Arm. Well, I'm not even sure what I'm saying right now. We had the Lurking Arm. And, like, we saw them and they were getting so low, they just couldn't get the kills. The sustain coming out on the side of Crimson is just proving too much to deal with. The fact that they walked away with just mere slivers is just a testament to how good their composition is at really mitigating that damage, keeping who needs to be kept alive just topped up completely. Like, that was the perfect fight that they had there.
Look at this, fan. If we look at the scoreboard, despite having 5 deaths, Malthael is still smashing that hero damage. He is really putting in work, and it's a testament to the hero. Despite all the changes, despite what he's being put up against, he can put out that much damage, even with 5 deaths. And I say, all it takes is one team fight. Right now, they are waiting for it. They won't have 16. And you'd have to imagine they just have to sacrifice this again, but when is their time to shine?
Hard to say. I mean, will they ever get a time to shine is the other question we're asking now. And the map has been painted completely red with every single Merc camp being available to taken by Crimson Esports. So they're putting pressure everywhere that they can find it. With that shrine as well being available, they want to push up these lanes.
Yeah, it's looking to be that they're just forced to clear out lanes that actually could work out for them. Might give them enough XP, if not very close to it, 416. Lyca believes he's a split pusher. He's pushing out bot lane, putting those Kazra straight towards that keep wall, trying to open up that win condition, because this next Punisher is going to go straight beeline towards that.
And I mean, 16 is very important, especially for Malthael if he does opt in to pick Momentum Warrior. I think Physics is going that build. It will really amp up his damage. You already were admiring his damage numbers. It will make them even more disgusting. That damage over time that it'll deal could be what they needed to actually secure the kills on this highly sustained team.
What I'd love to see now is for them to hit 16, wait for the Punisher to jump in, and Penta to get the flank on like he's been looking for it all day. Leica has the vision. He already predicted that was what the call was going to be, but I mean, this slowing sand is here. It's just a rough situation because they're just going to get pushed upon. If they get some kills, that is a keep going on down, depending on how many kills they get, potentially even the core itself as well.
I mean, wall is down, so the Punisher has just escorted himself in, and Leica is not afraid to get amongst it with that Avatar.
He's jumping on in. The Avatar has been popped, as you mentioned. Moonshot forced to back away. Weighted Pushel is on him, but it doesn't matter because he can't be exploded because Stukov is the one that falls down. And it's just always, not even staggered deaths, it's just rough situations. They don't have the team fight, they don't have the levels. They need to try and find that one opportunity, that one moment, whether it be a team fight or even just the objective itself.
I mean, just based on draft, I'm just not sure if there's enough damage on the side of NMD to really, I guess, eliminate someone. Because really what they need to do is just take someone out of the fight. They just don't have it. And now Penta is the one who'll get caught out here. Really unfortunate.
It's been happening all day long. Stun, bullet, dead. And the slowing sands, they just don't prove to be enough to slow down that sort of advancement.
Penta's just been eating bullets left, right, and center. I'm pretty sure Jesmez has not cursed bullet anybody else. And I mean, that's good because it means Penta's front and center, but it's also hugely bad because it's percentile-based damage.
Yeah, he's enrolled for the arm and he's copying bullets left, right, and center as if this was Call of Duty, but he's taking that damage and he's been a champion about it. But Stukov cannot deal with that burst damage. He cannot handle it unless he has to sacrifice that healing pathogen with an instant bio switch. And not ideal situations right now. They're looking for the blow up onto Leica, but it is a Murden. Not going to happen. And Keep now is suddenly being threatened with 20 on the horizon for Crimson Esports.
Great call by Crimson Esports as well. By pressuring bot and letting the Shaman push top, is really forcing NMD to choose what do they want to defend. It's
much
splitting
the same
them
as
up.
Battlefield of Eternity. This is pretty much like the repeat. It's like a deja vu but reversed.
Effectively, yes. They're doing a really good job of controlling that map. And now, by taking out the Khazra camp, it'll have pressure on that bottom lane. So this is where I say the Mercs can really get some good value for you when that Shrine is activating. Especially, there's going to be the most value because the Shrine decided to spawn at the top. That's the best place it could have spawned on the side of Crimson Esports, because they can take all these Khazra camps and then just rotate on top.
This is the best chance that NMD will get all game to win this. They need to just fight for this one.
Yeah. I mean, even if 20 is I think they have to go.
They're just going to back away. They're just going to go for the wave clear. I don't know if I agree with this. I mean, they potentially just going to say, look, we're going to let them have another Punisher. We have to win the fight when it comes there, but you're not going to get 20. What are you waiting for?
Yeah, you just have to go. That's it. And if you lose, you lose, but at least you tried with one last shot. Because once 20 is acquired, that's pretty much going to seal the deal, I feel. Oh, look at this. Leica as well.
No Malthael. He's still lagging behind. 10 seconds there. Curse Bullet comes across. Rain of Vengeance once again. And same story every single time. Arthas runs in. He runs out. They collapse. They look for more. Tormented Souls once again going to put in a hard day's work. Getting so much value, but there's just no team ever there to follow up, to allow him to sustain, allow him to do his job. He does fall down. They have 20. They've picked up a triple kill. And now they can look to run straight through the top lane, pick up their keep.
Bye, Leica. He's gone. Massive shove doing the deal, but Leica pays... Sorry, Lahal pays for it with his life. And he says unluck as well. I think that's how he feels about the game. And I believe with this is the push that Crimson can use to win the game.
Unless Ninja can pull a rabbit from a hat.
I
don't
don't
think
think
a bit of a rough situation.
1v5.
He's pretty zoned away.
He's staying under the keep as well. He's like, I'm not going out there. I know what I'm going to be met with. Penta just instantly to take him strike right back into the healing fountain.
I mean, testament to Penta. He wasn't deterred. His confidence wasn't phased. Every single time he ran in, he copped all the damage and was just like, not really working for us. And at the end of the day, Crimson Esports with a very familiar, comfortable draft, get the map, they get the win.
Is this upset after upset? So, all right, NMD managed to take a game off Dark-Sided. Sorry, a series off Dark-Sided. And then Crimson Esports have taken a series off NMD. It's like, is this a curse of whoever's winning will then be taken down by the next challenger? It's almost like a little flow-on effect.
Yes, it's a flow of everything happening right now. This is beautiful to see. And with all things said and done, that is going to be Crimson Esports progressing on through to the grand finals, with NMD dropping down to that lower bracket to face up against Darksided to decide who will meet them in that best of 5 grand finals. But let's talk about the MVP series now, Vandy. Who are your eyes solely focused on throughout all 3 games?
I think you know who it might be. And it was a little Divine Shield that happened on Towers of Doom. And that was by Moondruid. Just that play itself was crazy. Moondruid, he's shown himself to be a very, very strong support player. And he's very, very comfortable across a range of supports. And it really comes through, I guess, his experience. But just seeing that play for me, as I said, it was MVP moment, but I'm also happy to give him the MVP, depending on your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to say that was really convincing stuff. Also, honourable mentions definitely to Ninja in the first 2 games. Didn't really have as much success with the Chromie in number 3, but I would agree with you as well, to be quite frank. I mean, supports don't get enough love. Moondruid, in the end, put in an honest day's work. He kept the team alive throughout 2 games, especially. Number 3 wasn't as hard, you'd say, for him to actually have to deal with. But end of the day, 16 kills to 2. It's a clean win, and I'll give it to Moondruid as well.
Well, congratulations, Moondruid. You not only, your team has walked away with the series, but you also got MVP. So that's going to be this one, and it means that Crimson Esports progresses on to the grand finals, I believe.
Yep. So we're going to get into another quick commercial break as we wait for all these teams to get themselves readied on up. We'll have that lower bracket final coming right after this, so don't go anywhere.